GaGridironClassic@gmail.com or call 470-210-8559. The Georgia Gridiron Classic, August 11th through the 13th. When the dust settles, will your team be the last one standing? You're listening to NYSR, National Youth Sports Radio. And welcome back live here on the Kennie Long Show, NYSR, National Youth Sports Radio. Straight up 104, 4 minutes after 1 o'clock as we continue our inaugural show here, the Kennie Long Show, Monday through Thursday, starting at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, Daylight Time. Here, based out of Brenham, Texas, just north of Houston. Again, a lot of messages I get. We are fine here in Brenham. We did get a lot of rain, a whole lot of rain, but we're not having the issues that the city of Houston is having. Houston is just one big lake right now. Still a lot of relief efforts, a lot of rescues going on, people being displaced. Their homes are flooded. They've lost everything. It is a tragic event, and our thoughts and prayers go out to those in the Houston area. On the phone with us now as we continue our focus on the game of football as college football is beginning. NFL's beginning. All the youth programs around the nation are beginning. One of the men on who's been one of the members of the show, Friday Night Tykes Steel Country, Ameer Dudley with the Central Valley Warriors. How you doing, Ameer?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Kenny?
I'm dry. That's the best part I can say is I'm currently dry. It has been one heck of a weekend here in Southeast Texas. And Pennsylvania, you guys are kind of dry up there right now, aren't you?
Yes, we are. You know, that's kind of rare. Around this time of the year, it's either extremely hot or it's extremely rainy. So right now we're blessed enough to, have some sun out here. And I just wanted to send the prayers out to the families and the people affected by the hurricane down in Houston.
Well, we appreciate it. So let's get started on let's first talk about the TV show, Friday Night Tykes Steel Country. You guys kind of came in after we did on the Texas side. And explain to everybody, I get questioned this all the time, and what's it like to be a part of a television show? You've had a little bit of experience prior to with in your college football days, but give everybody a sense of what it's like to really be involved in a television show of this magnitude.
I would say that the biggest thing is probably the unawareness, not knowing what's going to be shown. The cameras are there, and it gets to the point where, the cameras are there so much that you forget they're there. So I guess that's part of the system in order for it to blend into the background and try to catch you in a natural state, catch the people in a natural coaching habitat or whatever. So you really don't think about it, at least I didn't, until maybe after something happened and you're thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, and maybe I shouldn't have did that. Is that going to make the cut? But, it was fun. It was definitely fun. Just to get the whole process, to see, to know what happened and then kind of see it play out on TV. And then it's actually kind of surreal, for lack of a better word, when you get to see the responses to people, when something that happened and, you get the people's response and they're talking about what happened and maybe you want to kind of chime in, but it's edited. So you're not seeing the full story, so to speak. So the thing is, it's kind of like take it as a grain of salt, not to get too upset when things are not shown in the proper light, but at the same time, don't be too happy when things make you look like you're a genius, because that might have been set up as well.
I think on our side, the Friday Night Tykes, one of the most famous lines, and I still talk to this gentleman on a regular basis, and we joke about it. Every time I see him, we joke about it. But I think it was one of the promo spots for that season, and it was the Austin Steelers, where the coach looks at Maricus Goodlow, who was with the Colts at the time, and goes, "I was talking to the referee, but if you want some." That statement just resonated all season long. And I've warned people, because I've been through it like 2-3 years now, and I tell them, please, I still hear it today. Why don't you bring Friday Night Tykes to Georgia? Why don't you bring it to Miami? Why don't you bring it to Houston? Bring it here, bring it there, bring it. Why are you just in Texas? of course, we're not. He got Steel Country in Pennsylvania. But one of the things that I even told guys in Pennsylvania when they were messaging me as they were getting started was, be careful what you've asked for.
You just might get it. You're right.
You just might get it. And I know you've had some instances with coaches where they've said certain things where, have they ever reached out to you and said, man, I saw that on the show and I was like, did I really do that?
I've actually had some instances where, maybe parents have said some things and maybe it's been edited in a certain shape or form. The coaches, and at least in my end, we're competitive, but we're all friendly, between Aliquippa, Beaver Falls. We all get along. We're in the same space a lot. So a lot of times things with me may have been said on camera, but we all know at the end of the day there was a respect there. You might have just caught us in a private moment, whatever. But I haven't seen too much anything that was said or I heard that was said that came back to haunt a coach. But I'm sure there's something out there that maybe I didn't take personally that someone else did. So on my end, no. But, I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure it is.
Now, what about the kids? And, this is something that I try to focus on when it came to the TV show is highlighting the kids, the talent kids that we have, not here in Texas, but what you have in there in Pennsylvania as well. How excited were they to be a part of the filming and all of the hoopla that went along with the TV show?
I think the kids seemed to me, it was like a double-edged sword. It seemed like the kids were extremely happy to be part of it, to actually be able to, play some of their games on national television. And I think also, and you always said be careful what you ask for, it came with a lot of backlash as well. There was a lot of kids who might have had some, feelings tied up into the kids being seen, and they weren't being seen. So there were some instances where some kids had some words said to them from adults as well as, their peers. So it was, I think it was a thing where it was it was an eye-opener for a lot of the kids to see how certain people treated them different because they were on TV and how some people treated them different because they were on TV and how it became a negative thing. So I believe a lot of those kids grew throughout that process.
And that's interesting that you say that because we've had some of that here where obviously on our side of Friday Night Tykes, the big focus was the San Antonio Outlaws and Mizell Miller. Mizell Miller being the star. Mizell Miller this, Mizell Miller that. Everywhere I go to Georgia, been to Mississippi. It doesn't matter where I go. The one question I get from all the kids is, do you know Mizell Miller?
Yeah, correct.
So I could see where that could lead to issues within a team. If one team, the focus on the cameras is always that one player, what about the rest of the team? Football is not an individual sport.
Yes, that's correct. That is correct. And I think a lot of the kids, I mean, just kind of watching it, I was kind of in a unique situation because my son played, so I could kind of see it on both ends where, maybe some kids might have had animosity. Now, personally, I can say, at least, speaking on behalf of Central Valley, it seemed like all the kids got along, and it didn't seem like there was any, jealousy or anything because they were focusing on one kid or another. I did notice from other areas, though, like other areas in Pittsburgh or in the Pennsylvania area, where those guys aren't that good, and we have 10 kids better than this kid. We got a lot of that. And our response to that was, there's great kids all across the country, so you can't focus on everyone. You can't focus on every team. They were blessed enough to be able to be followed. And, I always tell people, we never claim to be the best organization in the state, and we never claimed that our kids were the best. We did say that they were great kids, and, we weren't unapologetic because they were followed. It wasn't a thing where we felt, they don't deserve to be followed. We deserve that, they picked them for a reason. And, and once again, we're not saying they're better than your kid, but we're not going to say that they don't deserve to be out there either.
So, Ameer, you're involved with other things other than, of course, the Central Valley Warriors. You went to high school in the area, Rochester High School, went to Duquesne University. Football's been a big part of your life.
Correct.
So tell everybody what you do currently when it involves football and how it kind of leads to furthering not just the youth, but moving up to the high school ranks and into the college ranks.
Well, my day-to-day consists of, I'm actually a partner, myself and my business partner, Stephen Nesmith. We run a 5-star skills camp clinic, or a combine, for lack of a better word, where we actually have regional, it's like a fundamental camp, a 3-day fundamental camp where the kids will come, they play under the lights. We'll teach them drills. We try to bring in guys from college, Pitt, Penn State, Duquesne, whatever, to come back and teach these kids drills that they're learning at their individual or respective college. And from that in particular camp, we use that camp as kind of a review or a review, or just a way for us to just see what the kid's ability is. And then from that point on, we'll take those kids and we'll enter them into what we call our State Wars game. Our State Wars game is we have kids that are either in 7th or going into 8th grade, and what they'll do is they'll play another team. They'll play a team from Indianapolis. Last year we played the No Limit Hurricanes out of Delaware. And, we just try to get these kids exposed to not just playing just in Beaver County or Western Pennsylvania, but also playing on a larger stage. And then from that point on, we then follow those kids as they go into high school. We partnered up with a great company out of Vertimax, and we do Vertimax training for the kids, try to give them top-notch training, and to keep them, try to keep them a step above the competition. And then once they get into high school, we partnered up with another company called National Prospects ID, which is NCAA's, certified recruiting company. And we try to help these kids get recruited. So now we take these, in particular, athletes from the time they are 8. We work with them till they get to be old enough to play in the State Wars game. We progress them on to high school. And then once they get into high school, our job is to get these kids on to college. So, we don't preach. One of our messages is not professional. Our goal is any kid who has a desire and, and the will can make it to college. Regardless if it's athletically or academically, and our goal is to get as many kids into college and get degrees as possible. So that's just one of the services that we offer through our 5-star and our ACE Academy.
Now, you're also involved in a thing called Nationwide Sports Scouts. What's that all about?
Well, Nationwide actually is National Prospects ID. And basically what that is it's a recruiting service where a kid can come in once they're in their 9th grade. They come in and they can just get a free profile. The profile basically just gives college school universities opportunity to view the kid in a snapshot where they can see their academics. They can actually see some of their game film. They get the particulars as far as, the attributes. And then at the same time, they can get a little profile. They can type up a summary of just what they are, who they are as a person, and what they would like to achieve. If they choose to go to another tier in that program, there's different paid programs, very affordable. They're not meant to break the bank. At the same time, they can spread the payment out over a year. And basically, now they have the ability to go into their back office, and they have access to every Division I, Division II, Division III, and NAIA schools, as long as prep schools and junior colleges, and they can communicate directly with each coach. So the offensive line coach, the scouting coordinator, they can actually, hey, hello, my name is, John Doe, and, I'm interested in coming to your university. And you can actually have communications back and forth. Now, there's no verbal communication, of course, but they can see where, this kid actually sent his information out, and then he can see if that coach viewed it. And then the coach can, give little notes. You need to work on your back pedal, or you need to work on your hips and opening up your hips or loosening up or whatever. So it kind of gives them some communication and know what they need to work on. And it's very, there's a lot of feedback in between this communication between the player or the coach as far as athletically. There's no communication as far as come play for us until they're able to. Be clear about that. But it just gives the athlete a chance to know what he needs to work on and also help his recruiting process. So now he's just not sitting there waiting for a letter to come, so he can be more proactive. So I've seen we've actually been partnered with them for about 3 weeks now. And I have a perfect example of a young man out of Rochester. He's all-state defensive back, and we loaded him up in the system Saturday afternoon at 12 o'clock, and we checked his profile Monday morning, and he had over 400 college views from different, all levels, that checked his website out and had, either had some type of communication with him. And I just got a text just a few seconds ago from another kid. We loaded him up on Wednesday, and he has 2 coaches coming down to come see him play this weekend.
Wow.
So I've actually been able to see it happen. I mean, he's not even been up a whole week, and he has 2 coaches come to look at him at his game. So it's a very good system. Like I said, it's free for those who just want to get a profile, and for those who want to, get a little bit more interactive and try to, juice it up a little bit more. They have, another profile that you can go ahead and get anything